Hey guys, it's Matt here, and today I'm bringing you another episode of Matt Rants. So, what are we talking about today on Matt Rants? Well, before that, I want to mention that this past weekend had a very interesting set of releases, if you guys saw. And if you didn't, you can totally check them out after the episode is over. If you don't know, we actually did... I'm only laughing because I'm really just thinking about what actually happened this weekend. Friday was nice. Friday we had Matt Games from his childhood episode. We had another episode of me playing Crash Bandicoot 2, the Insane Trilogy HD version. I don't know if I want to call it a remaster necessarily. You can hear my thoughts on it in a previous episode of Matt Rants where I talked about that and the Spyro one and a few other ones that have come out over the years. So that I did on Friday. Then on Saturday, it was their Cinco de Mayo special where myself and Brandon and other hosts that have come on the show before, we played Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth 2 seasons ago at this point. Dear God. Actually, no, it might have been last season, actually. No, it was 2 seasons ago. Oh, my goodness. It's been a long time. But anyway, so he and I did that as well. And then he came on to do a Cinco de Mayo special where he and I played Samba de Amigo for the Nintendo Wii. And then on Sunday, very rhythm-based weekend, because on Sunday, we had another episode of Those Guys Play Season 4, where myself, Tristan Walter, and a surprise guest came on to play the Mario DDR mix for the Nintendo GameCube. And then here we are today with another Matt Rants. And before we get into that Matt Rants, by the way, I want to mention that we're only doing one this week. Unless some big news pops up, we're only going to be doing one this week. And maybe also one in the upcoming weeks as well. Really depends on things like news and other topics that come out. Just to really kind of get my mind going, make me want to rant about something or another. I also want to mention that if you guys want to give me any more questions like this, any more topics like this, then you want to send any, please either tweet us at @ThoseGuysRadio. You can email us as well or DM us, anything like that. So what is the topic today? Well, the topic is 6 ways to run a gaming YouTube channel on a budget. Now, 6 ways because I had 5 and then all of a sudden one more popped in my head and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. Also want to mention that this topic is carefully worded because I think a lot of self-help YouTubers out there, really good self-help YouTubers though, but still they say, oh, these are ways to succeed on YouTube. Succeed, success, find success, do better, get X amount of subs and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that those are bad, they're giving bad advice or anything like that. But when it doesn't happen to you, I feel as if immediately you get discouraged. I mean, I know I've gotten discouraged in the past and stuff like that. So I understand where you're coming from. And that's kind of why I want to make sure that this is just helping some of you guys who are new to YouTube or trying to get into YouTube, who just want to exist on a budget, right? And when I say budget, I mean things like when someone said to me recently, hey, you don't have a good computer, just build your own rig. To me, saying, oh, it's under 1,000. Yeah, okay, but I still need something, a lot less than that, right? So when I say a budget, I truly mean a budget. I'm not trying to sit here and be like, a budget of only $5,000 or less. No, I'm talking about really low budget here. Now, yes, I'm going to assume that you do have a few things here and there. Like, for instance, if you have just a laptop in general, or a desktop, even if it's an old one, even if it's run down, as long as it works and it can encode a video, then that's good. If it can't and you have a mobile phone that can, that's good too. Although I'm more used to the desktop or laptop model, but still I can talk to you guys a little bit about that as well, either throughout the video or in the comment section below. So I'm assuming you have a laptop of some kind. I'm assuming you have some video editing software. There are free video editing softwares out there, but I assume you have some kind of video editing software. And I also am going to assume that you either have a game capture, or you might not, and that's okay because I'll give you some other alternatives. But of course, you need to have like a laptop or something like that to play the games on at the very least. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Also, you don't have to have a camera. I would hope that you have a light stand of some kind. You can get those for around $40. You can get the camera that I got. I got a Canon, I believe it was a Canon HD, some odd or other, a few years back. I don't remember the exact model number, but I do remember it was around $200, which really that's the most expensive thing I've ever bought for YouTube in one gulp, I believe, I want to say, is the $200 camera, because the rest of it, it was still like $100 here or there, like for the Elgato Game Capture HD or for the Roxio Game Capture HD Pro. Both are around $100, but again, maybe you don't have those, right? Maybe you don't have access to retro consoles and stuff like that. That's okay. This video is just kind of gonna go and talk to you guys about 6 different ways to run this channel on a budget, or run your channel on a budget. So let's look at number 1 right here, right? Number 1 is only buy what you like. right? Only buy what you like. Now, why do I say that? I say that not just because, you know, talk about later about being genuine on YouTube, being yourself, not just that, right? Not stuff like that. It's just so much that the reason why is because if you're playing this game, if you're reviewing this game, now, of course, if you're a reviewer, you don't only have to get things that you like. Of course, you might want to expand yourself. You're reviewing, you're a video game reviewer, that's fine. But if you're sitting here as a Let's Player or sitting here as someone who wants to just show some hidden gems or something like that, just do a kind of video that you need to play this game for a long period of time to capture the footage, and it's not just a review, then you're going to have to get something that you like. Especially because if you're trying to, what I'm getting at here mostly is I'm not a big fan of some first-person shooters, right? So I'm not a big fan of like Call of Duty. So even though I would love to show you guys a bunch of different stuff on the channel, I've shown you guys either through unboxings and other types of videos, a whole lot of different weird stuff on the channel. At the same time, because I'm not a big fan of Call of Duty, I'm not going to sit here and buy the, you know, a Call of Duty special edition, let's say PS4, for $400 when I already have a PS4. I don't need to buy that. Instead of buying that, I can end up buying a ton, and I mean a ton, of retro games, or half a little Samson. Right? I can buy just a cut in half little Samson. Or I can buy a ton of different retro games, both to play on the channel for you guys, both to do maybe in top fives, maybe get some weird retro games to review, things like that. And I can just do that instead of putting my money towards something that I don't like, but I have to think, oh, but what are the masses going to enjoy? A bunch of people enjoy Call of Duty, so I have to do that. That's not really how you should be looking at your channel, especially when you're spending so much money versus doing something that you enjoy. Now, believe me, if you're spending a lot of money, even though this is running this on a budget here, guys, but this is what the video is about, running things on a budget. But if your budget is, you know, oh, I can spend that $400 on that PS4. Heck, I don't have a PS4. I've always wanted a PS4. I love Call of Duty. I can get the Call of Duty PS4. That's great, right? That's good. But what matters is, do you like it? Not, do you think someone else will like it? Because especially if you're doing something on YouTube Live, if it runs a little bit like Twitch in the sense that people love the game that you're playing just as much as they love you and care about seeing you, then if you're playing a game that you don't like, especially a game that's like some of these first-person shooters that there is a story, but in some cases you're playing multiplayer and having fun with friends and going a little crazy, and then you're showing, you know, kill shots and headshots and stuff like that, that really show off, you know, how crazy, you know, glitches, things like that, you're going to be stuck with this game. Not forever, hopefully, but you're going to be stuck with this game. There are a lot of YouTubers that are just like Minecraft YouTubers, or that are, you know, back in the day Call of Duty YouTubers. Now we have Fortnite YouTubers. So if you're going to get Fortnite, right, you better like Fortnite, is kind of what I'm getting at here. And even if something is cheap, and if you're saying, no, but it's a free game, yes, but hopefully it's something you enjoy, right? Even if it's a $5 game, it's something that you enjoy, because every dollar that you're putting towards something you don't enjoy is being taken away from something that you could be purchasing, not just for your channel, but also for yourself, right? Even if you're just buying digital games only, you're buying them for PC on Steam, that's still money that's being wasted, and money that you can't get back. Moving on to number 2, which is funny because I've kind of been talking about money in point number 1, but now I'm going to hit it home a little bit harder. Buy low. Buy low. Now, what do I mean by buy low? Well, what I mean by that is, let's say you want to talk about so here's something interesting, and I'll only talk about this now because it basically, I haven't seen it online other than once a person selling it and they bought it, and it wasn't me who bought it. So I can talk about this because I don't really see it online in general. So I'm not going to try to, like, I'm worried about raising prices for stuff. If you guys, longtime listeners know, longtime watchers know. So I don't like to talk about specific games unless they're already high up there. But in this case, I'll talk about this because there was only one copy, one version that I saw, and it was gone. This was a European, so a PAL version of the Super Nintendo, but it was actually a Cricket version. So it was packaged in with Cricket, and it was, I think it might have been $300 US or something like that. I didn't have the cash at the time. Someone else bid on it, and that was that. Right? They bid, like, I think just the one bidder, I think, and maybe like 3 bidders by the end of the day. And so it was purchased, and I didn't get it. Right? Let's say I did have that $300, but I only had like $305. And again, the choice is, oh, I get to show this off on my channel, right? But at the same time, the thought is, do I like cricket? Well, Satish Ram, a fellow YouTuber, a fellow Let's Player, and I say YouTube, he's on our YouTube channel, but he doesn't do YouTube himself. But a fellow Let's Player, fellow podcaster, he likes cricket a lot, right? So I think he would have gotten a big kick out of that, and I would have loved to have surprised him with that. So that was actually a thought in my head. I was like, how badly am I going to throw off Satish Ram if I make a video about this and he's in it and he's like, what is this? But at the same time, you have to think, is it worth $300? Right? Versus, again, like I mentioned earlier, buying a bunch of other retro games, a bunch of other maybe clone consoles and stuff like that to do different, like demo discs. You've seen me play Matt Plays PS1 demo discs. You've seen me do not for resale and stuff like that. So I can buy so much more to make so much more content for the channel, or just spend it all on one console. That, putting aside the fact that I wasn't even a big fan of cricket, and also the fact that and my region is NTSC, that's PAL, that's PAL, that's a little bit different there. So that might have needed a conversion or two here and there. But my point is that if you can't make that eBay purchase and you can't make that YouTube video because you couldn't make that eBay purchase, it's okay, right? It's okay. Buy low. Buy low. It is much better, right? It's a lot better to make 5 unboxing videos versus being the person that makes one unboxing video because you spent $150 on one item, right? And again, back to the idea of it's an item that you don't like, but even then, if it's an item that you do like, an item that you do want, right? Is it, because another thing too to think about too is that, let's say you're like us, right? You're really small time. You haven't even hit 1,000 subscribers. You want people to come to your channel, sure, but if you sit back and you go, oh, I need an NES Classic right now. Everyone's talking about the NES Classic. I need to get in on this. I need to get into that YouTube search algorithm. I need to get in on this. I missed the first wave, so I couldn't get it at $60. I'll just pay $300. Stop. No. Don't do that. No bueno. Don't do that, right? You're thinking, no, but I got to get in on that. No, but remember, everyone's talking about it. By the time they get to you, you've spent $300. What are you going to bring to this discussion? Don't think that the item is the only thing that's bringing something to the discussion. You are as well, right? You are, and your take and the things that you are doing differently than other YouTubers is what's being brought to discussion. Not just spending $100 on an item and then going, oh no, what am I going to do? Because guess what? Unless you know that you can flip that for not even flip, just get back the exact amount that you spent on it, at the very least breaking even, you've now just wasted, with the NES Classic situation, you wasted $240. Assuming you got it at $300 and MSRP was $60, you wasted $240 because now are people still buying them at $300? Right? Especially with Nintendo announcing that they're coming with more NES Classics later this year. Are people still buying those at $300? If they are, all right, if you spent $300, maybe you can make back the exact amount. But I don't think you can make any more than that if you were trying to flip it any other way. So I would suggest that you buy low because you can get a lot more when you buy low. And even though I did just mention that you're the one that adds to the content, not just buying a product, is it alone, at the same time, it is good to have more product at a lower price rather than the inverse, in my honest opinion. But let's say you're sitting around and you're saying, but Matt, I barely have any money. Like, I have some of the stuff that, either parents have given me, friends have given me, older brothers, sisters, cousins, hand-me-down computers. No Commodore Amigas, but still some hand-me-down computers. And you're sitting there and you're just like, I don't have the money to do this or that. Or even if you buy games on Steam, you have to put them at the lowest resolution possible, and even then they stutter, right? So you could look towards getting free games. And I know some people, you think, oh, a free game, that's going to be terrible, it's not going to be good. Frankly, if it's not good, that adds on to the fun, right? You bringing your skills, your gift of gab, whatever you want to bring to this, your energy, it helps. Not that you want to shit on the creator, especially if it's their first game or something like that, but it helps. It helps your reactions. How you kind of just what you're bringing to the video overall. If the game is either questionable, if it has some content that's a bit questionable, I would suggest screening your games a little bit. Like, don't do any live streams with any games that you've never, I just got this game off the internet, I wonder what's going to happen here. Maybe not do a live stream with that, but if you're creating content that's edited down, that you can cut this or that out or censor this or that if need be, then free games are the way to go. One place that I've gotten a lot of free games from is itch.io, so it's itch.io. Itchy.io. And the reason why I enjoy that site a lot is because you'll find a lot of fun, interesting, silly dating sims. Last year on Summer of Love, I played a bunch of different weird dating sims, like the Nicolas Cage dating sim, Kaiju dating simulator, Monster High. I'm thinking of some other ones. Trying to boat dating simulator. Well, there was a boat dating simulator. The Legacy of Harambe, where it wasn't a dating simulator necessarily, but it was still one of those visual novels type deals. And I mean, the kid that you played was in love with Harambe, I guess. It was God, it's so hard to. I love how some of you guys probably right now are like, why is he saying this so nonchalantly? Because I played those games and they were a thing. And so there are a lot of, sometimes there's fun games like that are a little off in some way or another. Sometimes there's games that are a lot more serious, a lot more in-depth. Either if they're not visual novels, then they can just be some fun platformers as well. I played some very interesting platformers from itch.io, and there's also, I'm sure, some other sites as well that you can download some free games from as well, not just trying to look for Steam sales and things like that. Steam does have some great sales, but again, the issue here, I imagine, is you personally being worried about the fact that your computer can't play some of these more high-end games, even at low resolutions. But no, I played some very interesting games, to say the least. I remember V is Calling was a very interesting game. Hot Date, where you dated a pug who was very smug. So there's a lot of interesting games you can get through itch.io, and again, a bunch of other websites as well. You don't, as long as you have your, obviously you have your laptop or your desktop, you don't have to feel as if you can't become a gaming YouTuber just because you're not willing to or you're unable to pay $60 for every single brand new game that comes out. And, I didn't really... I hit hard with the buy low thing earlier, or like just general like money in general, but I didn't really touch upon the fact that a lot of these games are $60 each. So even the ones that aren't, collector's editions, this collector's editions, that. So you better like what you're getting if you're ending up getting like a new game every week. All of a sudden it's 60, 120, 180, 240. That's $240 a month. Maybe double that to $480 if you get 2 new games a week. It's a lot, right? I'm sure that some people who consider 2 new games a week kind of a conservative number. But to me, $480 a month on just brand new games, some of them that you may like, some that you may not like, and sure, you might not know if you're going to like it immediately by the time that you buy, especially if you're trying to buy it as a reviewer, but still... there are a plethora of old games that you can review or play. Again, also just talking about itch.io again, a plethora of these different websites so that you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on all of these different games. And then especially looking at some of these newer games, I mean, the resale value just plummets. Right? So it's not even like you can get, like, you're going to look at your $60 purchase, and if you liked the game or if you didn't like the game, either way, if you don't want it in your collection, even if you liked it, but you beat it and you want to get it out of your collection because you don't have the space for that, let's say, then all of a sudden your $60 purchase, you end up, maybe getting 20 or getting 30 for it. 30 if you're lucky. So all of a sudden, it's like, great, I got $30 in my pocket to put into games. No, you lost $30, and now you're going to lose it again. You just lost it again buying another game. So, free games, good stuff. So moving on to number 4, use your friends. Now, what do I mean by that, right? A bunch of people are just like, a bunch of friends of YouTubers sitting right next to their YouTube friends right now listening in like, please don't take my kidneys. What does it mean by use your friends? Well, frankly, I'm not saying necessarily that you have to go halvesies with any of your friends. Like, oh, I want to buy this, so how about you put money in? No, not that at all. Nor am I saying to bring them on your channel if they're very uncomfortable with being in front of the camera or being in front of a microphone. I'm not saying to do that either. Yes, we've had a bunch of different people who are friends of mine who've come on the YouTube channel. They've had fun we've done many different videos, a lot of fun stuff. So yes, I've brought people on, but I'm not even saying it in that way. What I'm saying is, if you want to make any purchase of any kind, high, big budget or otherwise, talk to a friend who might have it. Even if you're just venting about how silly the thing is that you want to buy, talk to that friend because they might have it. So I'm about to talk to 2 different. This actually happened twice with the same person, and that's why I'm laughing as hard as I am right now. I'm trying to stifle back laughter. Anthony Toto, who's come on the show before. He and I have played Animal Crossing. Those guys play seasons. We played Animal Crossing. We've played Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. And we've played some other stuff as well. So he and I Basically, I made 2 jokes with him. The first joke, because this past season, if those guys played season 4, he and I played Mario Pinball. It was a launch title for the Game Boy Advance. So I made a joke with him. I was like, hey, so here's something so funny. Apparently this pinball game exists. And his response was, oh yeah, I have that. What? Anthony Toto, why? Why do you have Mario Pinball? Mario Pinball Land. But he did. And because of that, we were able to play it on the channel. So I didn't have to make an excess purchase to ask him or someone else, like, oh, how funny would this be? He already owned it. Story number 2 with Anthony Toto. So some of you guys saw the unboxing on the channel that I did of the Mario DDR pad, because it was a Mario DDR mix of Dance Dance Revolution DDR. And so here's what ended up happening. I ended up saying, oh, I would love to play this on the channel with some people sometime. And I sent him the eBay link that I was going to buy. I was like, how crazy this exists. I would love to play it with someone one day. And Anthony Toto says, oh, I have that. Still has it in his closet. This man who, I think he still has a GameCube. I assume he has to if he still has that. But yeah, no, he still has a GameCube. He was going to bring over some GameCube games for a different episode on the channel, for a different series. So he still has the dance pad in his closet. I saved, it was only, I think, like $20 or so at the time, because no one had bid on it yet. So I think maybe I would have been the only one, because it's just, who wants that in their collection? Some people want to try it, but then who wants to keep it? Because it's a giant dance pad. So he had it, and I didn't have to spend that money because I went and I asked. I extended that olive branch. So another thing too, by the way, and this next one I want to clarify: do not pressure your friends to buy things from you, or off you, or instead of you buying them. Do not do that. However, I did talk to Tristan Walter, a fellow Let's Player YouTuber on the channel. He and I have played Dragon Ball Z Budokai, a bunch of different Dragon Ball Z games, too many to list. Also, recently for this season, we played Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee, and he and I have also played some other interesting games on the channel before, like Hot Wheels Turbo Racing, Red Steel, Pets Crazy Monkeys, and strange, and Dizzy's Dinosaur. Strange stuff, basically. But the point is, though, is that when it came to, I bid on an NES Classic Edition. I bid $100. Well, actually, no, it was $100, and I bid I was the only bidder for $100. And the second I bid on it, the next day is when the news came out that Nintendo was releasing more NES Classics within the next year. So I think people just stopped bidding, at least for that 1 week. So because of that, I ended up winning the bid, which was nice. But something had happened with my bank. They didn't process something immediately or something. So I ended up not having the money that I would have liked in my account. So I could have asked someone to lend me some cash, or I knew that Tristan wanted an NES Classic. So I looked at him and I said, Tristan, do you want the NES Classic Edition? And he said, sure. And I said, look, I paid exactly this much. It was $110 shipping. Do you want it? He said, sure. So he got it, right? Came to me, made all the videos I needed to make. He sent me the money, and boom, I gave him the console. And it lives with him now. It's really not, I get it on weekends, but it lives with him now. And that's okay, right? Super Nintendo Classic Edition. I sold something on eBay, so I couldn't get the money to get one myself, but I also wanted to make a vlog showing us trying to get one, like the night into trying to get one live, and also just, bringing my camera as well to do something a bit longer form. And so I looked at Tristan. I said, hey, you want to come down from Long Island, come to Queens, and we can try to get the Super Nintendo Classic Edition? He said, sure, I'd love to have one. So we went out and we got one. Right? So if you have friends, and that's not me trying to put you down and being dead serious here. I know some people want to be, a bit more loners, and that's okay, right? Or a bit more, isolated. And again, that's fine. I'm not gonna tell you guys how many days a week I leave my house. But what I am gonna tell you guys is that if you don't have friends, that's okay. But if you have someone in your life who you can consider a friend who is also into gaming as well, in your area, be they a YouTuber, be they not a YouTuber, it's fine if you don't collab. Even though it would be nice if you collab, it would probably be best if you do make friends within the community. But it's not just about collabing. It's not about bringing people on who don't have channels to try to get them in front of the camera and be like, say you like the thing on the top 5 list. I really enjoyed Star Wars Episode 1 Razor. No, they didn't. They actually, maybe Tristan did. But my point is that And by the way, there's nothing against the racing game. It's just everything against episode 1. I still feel as if you should just talk to some friends of yours, right? Again, extend that olive branch. Some friends of yours, maybe they find you a good deal, right? I know that Courtney, who's come on the channel, we've played Wario Ware Inc. We've also played Wolfenstein 3D this season of those guys play, and constantly she's sending me a humble bundle deals, and it's really sweet. I'm like, thank you so much, because she's just sending me constant, hey, this is good stuff for your PS4, this is good stuff for Steam. The Steam stuff, I'm like, well, Courtney, PC's terrible, but the PS4 stuff, I might actually look into that. So your friends can help you out, right? Both if they have games, if they have boxes. I know we did a WarioWare, it wasn't Inc, it was WarioWare Twisted unboxing, and who had that box but Courtney, right? So it's just one of those situations where if you have friends, even if they don't want to be on camera, that's fine, but they might have something that can help give you content for your channel. And that's a good thing to think about, because again, they're your friends, and if they want to help you out, that's awesome. All right, so we're on to number 5. We're almost getting there, guys. We're almost at the final stretch. Number 5, optimize your sleep schedule. That one sounds odd and also slightly creepy. Now, it doesn't have to be your sleep schedule or just your sleep schedule. It can also be when you leave the house as well. What I'm trying to get at here is not, it's funny, some people are like, are you just talking about times where we're most vulnerable? No, let me explain. What I'm referring to here directly is if you, especially this doesn't have to only apply to gaming YouTubers, but I do think, or gaming channels, but I do think that it definitely does in some way or another, because when you look at something like a vlog, especially like a short vlog, those, yes, they can take, like putting editing aside, just in terms of encoding time. Yes, depending on how your setup is, the encoding time can be quicker, can be shorter, stuff like that. But when you're doing gaming videos like Let's Plays, or even maybe depending on how you do your reviews, other kinds of videos that you do, Matt Rants, just like these, you have to, depending on what you're encoding with, if you're using, like I use Adobe Premiere Pro CS6, I render the files first to try to bring down the time to encode, but even then, rendering also takes time. So if you're going to render a file, or you're going to encode a file, and you know that it's 3 hours long, or 5 hours long, I've encoded some 40-minute videos for our channel that have been 5 hours, 5 full hours, then how about maybe, right, optimize your sleep schedule, optimize when you're leaving the house. If you have a day job, which, good for you. If you have a day job, then no, it's really good for you. But if you do, then, or even like a nighttime gig or whatever it might be, if you know, hey, I'm going to be out of the house for 3 hours, maybe you're going to go grocery shopping, and you're like, oh, I'm going grocery shopping with the kids, and then we're going to go to, we're just going grocery shopping, but the kids are going to want to play on the whatever the thing outside. I can't think of what they're called. The like you put like 25 cents in them, and they're like there's a rocket ship. One of them might be a goat, a fake goat, not a real goat. But still, the kids are going to take are going to take a lot out of you. Maybe they want to go to the toy section of whatever place you're shopping in. So then all of a sudden you walk out, the kids didn't see anything they liked. You bought a couple Transformers, and so what matters is that after all that, instead of just going, oh, and then I have to get back and encode the video. No. Do it while you're gone, which I know to some people might seem pretty obvious, but I think utilizing your sleep schedule is where things get a little bit more maybe intense to some. Basically, if you know, hey, I go to sleep at this time every night, or I wake up at this time every night, or I'm awake at this time every night, and I sleep till 1. All right, so encode while you're awake, and then when it's 4 o'clock in the morning and you're going to put your head on the pillow, make sure you have that video set to encode for that next 5 hours while you're asleep. You should, I don't say never, because again, things happen, but it isn't a good idea to have your precious waking hours where you could be editing, encoding, or really just living your life, sitting around waiting for something to finish encoding. It's okay. You can go to bed. You'll wake up first thing in the morning. Your video will be encoded. Your 5-hour video will be done. As long as you made sure to have enough space on your computer so that nothing was problematic during the encode. It's cool. You're done. You can then upload it to YouTube, put all your tags, everything like that, and you're good, right? So I would say that when it comes to encoding and even just general rendering, stuff like that, optimize your sleep schedule. optimize is the right word, right? Maybe I'm using the wrong word. That would be terrible. But still, no, use your sleep schedule to your advantage. Use your time when you're, I know it might seem, very drone-like to some, but that's the thing. I'm not saying to, when you're going out having fun with friends and family and significant others, you're sitting back going, oh no, I have to encode that video when I get home. No, the whole thing is you set it to encode and then you can go out and have fun. You're done. No one needs you until another 3 to 5 hours. Go watch Black Panther and Infinity War back to back. Just go watch Infinity War twice. You're good. Right? Just go out, have your fun, come back, and then maybe, depending on what kind of YouTube stuff you're doing, I know this is only for gaming, maybe you come back, you end up talking about Infinity War on a podcast or something. So yes, in some ways blurring the lines between fun and your work, but still, I'm just trying to get at, the point I'm trying to get at here is trying to utilize your schedule as much as you can, right? So if you're a YouTuber that does pickups, while you're going out to do your pickups, that's probably when you should have your videos encoding, not just when you're sleeping. Or if you feel odd about the sleeping thing, maybe you have family that, doesn't like that you have a certain thing on at a certain time, or maybe you don't like having it on overnight, that's fine. But during the day when you're doing your either pickups or you're at work or something like that, try to have the computer running and have whatever file it is encoding. If it's just a 5-minute video, all right, depending on your setup, might only take 20 minutes. But longer form videos, for me, I've noticed, can be 3 hours long, 5 hours long. Nothing too crazy, but still long enough that I think it is problematic, to say the least, to just sit around. Even if you want to have fun and marathon a TV show or something, that's good, but it would still be best to, in that case, then try to have a few different videos set to encode while you're doing all that other fun stuff. And now we're on to number 6, which I alluded to a little bit earlier, and I'm going to hit a lot harder as we're kind of wrapping this video up, is be yourself, but more. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm not referring to people who want to play characters. If you want to play a character, that's cool. I'm not saying that I'm going to be anti-character here. And now we're finally at number 6, which is be yourself, but more. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I'm not saying to not be a character. I'm not railing against characters. If you want to be a character on your channel, that's fine. That's awesome. But when I say be yourself, but more, what I mean is that I don't think you should, again, fake. Character is different, obviously. If you want to be kind of like a Marine, right, and then play, SOCOM Navy SEALs, okay, right? Or you want to play like Battlefield or Battlefront or anything like that, all right, that's fine. Your character would be into that. Okay, that's fair. But also at the same time, I would suggest that, again, putting character work aside, if you're going to be yourself, be you, but more. So if even talk to some family and some friends that you've grown up with, like family that you've grown up with, and say, have I ever gotten mad while playing a video game? And if they say yes, you're like, how mad? Well, one time you threw the controller at the other couch, which I'm not going to say happened. But if that is the case, and you go, okay, well, I want to throw a controller perhaps, but in terms of, you ask them, how loud was I? And you're like, very loud. Did I scream? Yes. What did I say? Well, you didn't curse because you were really young, and we would not allow that to happen. But still, there was something about you that was, you were very loose cannon. That's another character. No, but if you're very loose and very open, very something like that, so okay, so I'm usually a little loosey-goosey when I'm playing games, but now I definitely have to be a bit more. You have to give it a little bit more. So, and I say more because it's hard to describe what more is for you, right? If more is self-deprecation, then hit them with more. If more is screaming, hit them with more. I don't know if you should just do a string of curses necessarily. Maybe unless you're like I don't know, I'm bringing Anthony Toto, love him. He'll say something like, Anthony Toto curses in a very fun, interesting way, where like he'll just be like, he'll be mad, he'll be like, oh, ass. And you're just like, Anthony. Or he'll just be like, oh, chicken fuck nuggets. And you're like, Anthony. So with that, maybe that's a little bit funnier. Again, if I wanted him to do that, I would explain to him, be you, but more. And so he would just have no problem throwing out all of the ass, and stuff like that. because that's just who he is, but a little bit more. So, and again, if you want to be a character, that's cool too. That's great as well. I'm just saying that you should be, this whole video really, we're just talking about you being true to yourself in some way or another. And I definitely think you should just be yourself. So if you like anime, do anime, video games and video game adaptations, and maybe even do videos on how they relate to the anime itself that it came from, right? Is it, do videos on, is it a continuation? Is it like an OVA? Is it like an episode 21.5? Where does it fit into the series? Does it fit in at all? Is it a retelling? Stuff like that. So you can do stuff like that and just be like an anime video game YouTuber. You can do the same thing with like tokusatsu as well, which, if you want to get a bit more in depth and be like, what do you mean by that? Like Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, Godzilla, Power Rangers. You can be a YouTuber that focuses just on that in particular. Same thing with like sci-fi games and stuff like that. Games that are based on books or movies and stuff like that. So there's so much that you can do and so much that you can bring to the community that don't feel as if you have to be anyone else that isn't you. However, unless, again, of course, you want to be a character, it's a completely different situation. But even then, still feel like it's something that you enjoy and it's being you, and also that the props are not that expensive. And I mean that overall, just that's be yourself but more. Maybe it's a little bit less expensive not being a character and just being you in your t-shirt. Anyway, guys, we have reached the end of this Matt Rants. Thank you all so much for listening in. I hope that any of these tips, all of these tips, at least one, helped you in some way or another. Please comment below if you have any tips, if you're a longtime YouTuber and you kind of want to give some advice. Maybe you thought some of my advice wasn't that good. Maybe you want to challenge me on some of the advice. I would love you to. Please comment below. I want to hear your questions, concerns. If you have any more questions about YouTube and about, being a budget YouTube gamer, budget YouTuber, I would love to hear about that below. Again, any tips, any questions, concerns, would love to hear them. Anything for the future, any questions about, future Matt Rants videos you might want me to do, would love to hear those as well. And you guys know where to find us. If not, check in the description box below. I'll have all of our different links to our Facebook, Twitter, website, merch page, all that different stuff, Patreon, all that different stuff. You don't need to hear about all that here. And again, just thank you all so much. Love you guys. And thank you so much for listening to another episode of Matt Rants. And next time you'll get to hear another episode of Matt Rants. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. Love you guys. Take care and see ya.